Hey, good day to all the YouTube family members out here. Good day to all my viewers and subscribers. I thank everybody a whole bunch for viewing my channel, and I thank all my recent subscribers as well for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't guessed by now, this is another episode of Weekend Van Driller. Welcome to it. And you know, I'm getting ready to make a special delivery, you know, to somebody who I'm deeply in love with. And yes, I am in love. Just like the title of the video, I am in love. So I got this wonderful box of chocolates right here on this wonderful Valentine's Day. Now, you're probably wondering, well, who am I in love with? Well, I am in love with negotiating. Yes, I love to negotiate. And by the end of this video, I hope to get as many of you out there as possible to also fall in love with negotiating and sustain that relationship for the rest of your life. You see, negotiating is not only important for living life on the road, but it is also important to live life, you know, period, regardless of how you live your life. Now, here's why I love to negotiate and why everybody out here should also fall in love with negotiating. Like, let's start with buying a car. Now, for most people out here, you know, the first major purchase we make is a vehicle. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example for all of these scenarios. Now, this van that I'm sitting in right now, I saw it on Craigslist for $550. And, you know, $550 for a van like this that's up and running and only had 123,000 miles is pretty dang on good for me. I mean, to me. And the van was located 2 hours away from where I live. So I saw that ad. I saw the ad on Craigslist, and I immediately picked up the phone. I called the contact number, and I arranged a time to go look at the van. Well, at first, he told me that somebody else was going to come by and pick up the van because they chose to purchase it. And he told me if no one came, or if the person reneged on the agreement, he would give me a call back. Well, about 2 hours later, he called me back because the person who was supposed to purchase the van reneged on the agreement. So, on the very next day, I mean, this van was at such a good deal that I called in from work to go look at the van. I saw it. I knew I wanted it as soon as I jumped in and did my little inspection. And the type of inspection that I did was basically the same type of inspection that I showed you on that I will be showing you on tomorrow's inspection videos. So after I did my inspection and test driving and all that fun stuff, I mean, you know, I'm gonna be honest. If I would have had to pay the full $550, I would have. But, you know, I didn't want to insult the people. But at the same time, I did not want to pay for a price because I never pay for a price for anything of big ticket. So they wanted $550. I came to them and offered them $400. They came back and told me they'll let me purchase the van for $500. So I came back and I said, okay, how about $450? So, okay, finally, we agreed on $450. Now, $450 is $100 less than the $550 that they were asking for. I mean, with that $100, you know, that $100 for some of y'all may not seem like a big deal, but that extra $100 that I saved was enough for me to, you know, pay my taxes and title and plate fees and all that fun stuff. So I purchased this van for $450, which is a pretty dang on good deal. I mean, considering the fact that the van did run, and I purchased it at 123,000 miles. Now, did it need some work to it? Yes, it did. So when I came back with my negotiating, I factored in some of the work that the van was in need of. So that's example one of negotiating. Now another example is my house. Now I have owned several houses, you know, throughout the last 10 years. Now on my first house, which was really a condo, I paid the full price. I did not negotiate or nothing. My realtor did not negotiate on my behalf. The realtor just wanted to make their money. By the time I purchased my second house, which was a brand new house, I negotiated down to $10,000. Now my realtor was not real happy with me because, you know, she wanted to make that extra commission off of that $10,000. She wanted to make that extra 3% off of that $10,000. So she suggested that I pay full price for the house since it was a brand new house, and there were 2 other people that were scheduled to go look at that property. You know what? I could care less, and I told her that. So I went on ahead and I submitted an offer to the builder for $10,000 lower than the asking price. He came back and told me, okay, he can give me off $5,000, but he's not going to give me off $10,000. So I told him, okay, I'm gonna just cancel the whole offer. Everything's off the table. I'm gonna go look at something else. Well, to be honest, I really wanted this particular house. I loved the neighborhood. I loved the house. I loved the layout. Everything about the house, I was just totally in love with. But I wasn't gonna pay any more than what I wanted to pay. So I sat around for 2 weeks, and yes, I did look at a few other houses, but none of which really, you know, piqued my interest as much as the new built house did. So I waited for a couple of weeks, and after a couple of weeks, the builder came and said, okay, he'll give me off $7,000, and I wrote back and I told him, no, I'm not taking $7,000 off. I need $10,000 off. So, you know, I sit for another 4 days, and then after the 4th day, the builder finally comes back to me and he tells me that, okay, he will sell the house for $10,000 less than the asking price. I mean, the asking price for this particular property was $95,000. I purchased it for $85,000. And then on top, so that's basically a story about that house. And I've exercised that same tactic for 2 of the houses that I've purchased. Now, the house that I'm currently living in, you know, that was a little different scenario. Now, the house that I'm currently living in, you know, reminds you I live in an area where, you know, housing prices are like super low because the market is not the best where I'm at right now. However, the house I'm in right now, I'm purchasing it on land contract. Now, I'm not going to tell you, you know, how much I'm paying and all that kind of stuff because I'm currently in the house. But when I looked at this house that I'm in right now, I noticed that there were some issues that the house had. I mean, number one, it has some foundation issues, which, you know, to a lot of people, they freak out. But me, this house that I currently am living in, the house was built in the 1800s, and the foundation issues were minor at worst. So I figured, okay, I can fix that, which at this point I did fix it. But I figured the house has been standing around for all these years, for over 100 years, then I'm not real worried about, I wasn't real worried about this particular foundation issue. So I noticed that, and then also the water lines were leaking, because what I did was I called the utility company to see how much utilities on average ran per month on this house. And they told me, okay, well, the last person who was here complained about the water lines leaking, and that's why the utilities were like sky high, way higher than they should have been. I mean, the utilities for the house I'm currently in, you know, water, electricity, sewage, all that included, typically might run a combined total of $100 a month. Well, the last person who was in this house, their bill was for $500. So I went on ahead, hired a plumber to come out and check the pipes. Well, the plumbing that was to the house was okay, but the water line was the issue. So the house had a leaking water line, and he gave me a quote of $3,000 to fix the water line. And then along with that, there were some other issues that the house had. Like, you know, when I bought this house, it was like filthy. I mean, there was fecal matter all over the bathroom. There was dirty diapers and dirty clothes all over the house. And the house has also been squatted in. Now, once again, a lot of people will have looked at the house and walked right away. Me, I saw the beauty beyond the ugliness. So, you know, I thought about it for a little bit, and I decided to go ahead and buy the house. So after I had everything checked out by my home inspector, which with my home inspection, he pointed out even more issues that the house had. So after all that was said and done, I came back to the person whom I was gonna buy the house from, the seller, and I requested that he gave me $15,000 off of the purchase price, which, you know, I'm not gonna lie, $15,000 was a bit much for me to be asking, considering the little bit of money that he was asking for the house to begin with. So, you know, I kind of knew that he wasn't going to give me all $15,000, but I asked him anyways to give me all $15,000. He came back and told me no, he can't give me nothing off. So I went back to him and I said, well, okay, well, I'm gonna just not buy the house then, because the house has got way too many issues. Well, come to find out, this house has been sitting for over a year vacant, and he has been in possession of the property for over 6 months at that time. So, you know, I waited for a month, hoping that he would come to his senses. Well, a month went by, nothing. So I just kept on looking at other properties. 2 weeks into me looking at other properties, he gave me a call back and he said, okay, I can give you all $5,000. So, you know, I told him, okay, let me think about it. I came back and I told him, okay, if you give me off $10,000, then, you know, you got a buyer. So he said, okay, how about I give you off $7,000? And then it's like, okay, well, if you, how about this? You can give me off $5,000 if you fix the water lines for me, and if you fix some of the other issues that the home inspector has listed. And I submitted a copy of that list to him. So he looked at the list. He looked at the invoice from the plumber about the water lines leaking. And then he came back and told me, okay, I'll give you off $10,000. So, okay, I accepted it. So, I purchased a house at $10,000 less than what the asking price was, which lowered my monthly payments significantly. Not only did it lower my monthly payments, but rather than having to, I'm putting it like this, not only did it lower my monthly payments, but it also subtracted a few years from the time that I would have to spend paying off the house. And another reason why I love to negotiate, and I believe that everybody out here, especially if you're living on the road, should love to negotiate, is also because when it comes to your employment opportunities, I don't care if you work 9 to 5 or if you own a business. Like if you work 9 to 5, I'm going to use that as an example. Let's say you see a ad in the paper for a punch press position. Okay, you submit the application or resume, they call you in for an interview, you show up, you go to the interview. And okay, let's say they tell you, okay, we're gonna give you a starting wage of $12 an hour. Well, you got a choice. You can either accept that $12 an hour, or you can do what some people may call pushing the envelope and say, no, that's a little low for me. I want to make at least $14 an hour. So like, if you got experience in doing punch press work, for an example, like let's say you got 5 years worth of experience. Let's say you received Employee of the Month or Employee of the Year rewards in that occupation. Let's say you were even a supervisor in that field. If they come back and they tell you $12 an hour, you know, if I were you, I would go back to them and tell them, no, 12 is a little low considering my credentials. How about 14? I mean, I wouldn't even say 14. I would say, how about 15? Now, chances are they're not gonna give you the job at $15 an hour. But they might come back and say, okay, well, we'll pay you 13. Or we'll pay you $13.50, somewhere in the middle between $12 and $15 an hour. You know, a lot of times if the company is willing to negotiate, they'll negotiate somewhere in the middle. So that's another reason why it's important to fall in love and stay in love with negotiating for employment opportunities. And well, those are basically all of my examples that I can think off the top of my head about why I love to negotiate and why I believe every one of y'all should learn to fall in love and stay in love with negotiating. So I hope this video has helped you out, and